Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Welcome again to this segment. Here's the segment, folks. It's voting time. Hey, you've gotten your ballot. You got a voter's pamphlet. Wow. And then you've got a few flyers, if you will. I was looking at those. That's another one here that I have. We got these flyers here. We got flyers all over the place. These are the ones that I got just right off the bat. Wow, this is just great. Well, anyway, we get very serious. And I might add one thing. I was also driving through the Northeast Portland corridor, and I saw all these cars just wrapped around the whole block. And then I said, "Where's the entryway?" It was all that Popeye's chicken. I mean, wow! I hope that whole mindset that when we get down to to voting, they'll be down at the elections. You know what I mean?
In a circle,
in a circle to basically turn in their ballots. You know what I mean? And that's one of the. And so that's basically the essence of the show today. And from now on, here at the Oregon Voters Digest, I want to motivate voters to get out and participate. I'm sure they're probably saying we don't have a presidential race. So consequently, a lot of folks are not going to come. You got me? A lot of folks are going to just round-foul it, right? You got me? And in all due respect, the guys, the shooters, and all these other folks, in all due respect, maybe the women, the night women, they just going to round-foul this stuff. I want folks to vote this time around because we're sitting in a crisis, folks. We're in a crisis right now, big time. But like I said, we're just community television. You know what I'm saying? We're just dealing with the folks, the little folks, if you will. But the bottom line is that, trust me, I'm focused. As you know, I'm wearing a couple of hats now, and I have invited the opponents, the other folks that are running for county chair. I'm running for county chair of Multnomah County, and there's four districts besides the county chair seat, and we basically the supervisor, if you will, of the county commissioners in the district. That's what we do in that seat. And as you know, I ran for district number 2 a couple. About almost 8 years ago now. 8 years ago, and and in all due respect, that was a major concern of mine because all the issues that we're talking about today about homelessness and garbage and this, that, and the other, that was the issue. The needles and all that other stuff was the issue, and it's kind of interesting. We had a Hispanic woman that was running, very very community related. And we had another black woman that was running from Northeast Portland, and she was good. She had good background and whatever. And then naturally, I was running. You know, I've been around the state. I've been around, if you will. But the bottom line, at the end of the day, they brought in another lady from India, who's been here not too long. But the bottom line, she ran, and and then I noticed that the power base of our community and for the state basically supported her, including a lot of blacks too, by the way, black leaders. But you know, we've always had black leaders in our state, like every state in the union has a black community, if you will. And in most cases, a lot of times they're pretty well controlled by the establishment. But things have changed. Things are changing, folks. Trust me, things are changing for the good, even of those establishment who are basically still trying to maintain their status quo, just like they've had on a continuous basis. Well, in all due respect, they're recognizing too there is a change, and I'm so glad that I've been there for days, and naturally because I identify with the Oregon Voters Digest, the first blue book of Oregon. A lot of folks don't realize that, but the first book, and it still is the blue book, if you will, of Oregon, because we're a component of it. We're a component of it. So I made that point to say that we still have those issues, and I'm on top of those issues. That's one of my reasoning for running for the seat, the chair seat, because there were issues there from the standpoint that, like I said, we got 3 districts people sitting in the position that have been in those positions at least 4 years. 4 years. But in all due respect, all these issues that one sees on media and this, that, and the other is all directed to district number 2, the same district that I ran for, where all the issues are. Where all the issues are that we are concerned about today. Like I indicated at the beginning of the show, the whole issue about homelessness and garbage and drugs and mental illness and people on the streets and people on the sidewalks, all these things. And then, like I said, that's district number 2. And I've reached out, in all due respect, to the other district, the people that are running for office. But in all due respect, hey, this is not their focus point. They aren't there. They are neat ladies. I think they're neat ladies, but their job is their respective district. And all I did was ask them in one of the interviews I did with the Willamette Week was that their concern was that they were really concerned, and one of the reasons why the main reason why they were running was because they weren't given an opportunity to articulate. They said that the chair was preventing them from talking about issues, and so that's why they were running. And so, with all due respect, I basically told them at Willamette Week that, hey, look, you will participate if I'm sitting up as chair. You will participate because we have to work. There are other cities besides just the city of Portland. City of Portland is in district number 2. Okay, we got Wood Village, we got Gresham, you just go on down the line, and those folks are at the table too because they're taxpayers. You, the taxpayers, are paying for that. We got all this money sitting up here in the Portland metropolitan area, being spent on things that you see visually, all the shootings, all this, that, but no one's talking about solutions. Okay, so anyway, that's what the rest of the show is going to be today. As an introduction, we're going to be talking, and we're going to probably go through endorsement. We're going to be doing some endorsements next week too, from this day forward. But what we're going to do is that we're going to focus on the main issue of this state right now. They got the same issues in other areas. We need to be talking about the state of Oregon, but the leading proponent to talk about this is Portland, because that's where the issues are that we're all concerned. That's what we're shown in today. That is the vote for the day. Oh yeah, the 34 candidates running for governor, it's all Portland, Oregon. Everybody's Portland, Oregon. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. So what with me today is I've got a person who's running for district number 2. There are 3 people running for district number 2. Naturally, Shashila is running. The woman that's there now is running district number 2, and I've seen her material. And again, the same problem. I'm looking at her program and looking in terms of what is she going to do. She's talking about shelter and housing and level and paying jobs. And the bottom line, she doesn't have the backup, but there's no solutions there. Everybody's talking about where's the solution? And where's your resume to show that, in fact, you know what the heck you're talking about? Everybody can get a slick ad, and if you got the money, you can get some commercials. But the real deal is that what are the solutions? And folks, I'm telling you, we got to keep talking about the solutions. And as chair of Multnomah County, and I'll be right up front with you, that again, like I said, we got 7 people. Let's see, 4, 5, yeah, we got 7 people. Right. We got 7 chairs right now for Multnomah County. I happen to be one of them. Yeah. Then you got the 3 sitting commissioners, right? You got me? And then you got the district 2 person who's running against Sheila, right? You got me? And Chair Kafori, because she won't be out until January.
True that.
See? Yeah. So, in all due respect, we got to take advantage of that opportunity and come up with the platform. The issue should be, what are the issues and the solutions? So at the end of the day, hopefully, you will be able to vote the way you want to. And if people get elected to a position only from the standpoint of money and popularity and the establishment aspect of it, hopefully, it'll be a situation where come January, those issues are going to be sitting in that chair. And regardless if they're sitting, I don't care who gets elected, they have to identify with those issues. And you, the public, because you're going to be paying for this stuff, you are going to be able to make the point right up front with you. Hey, they can say what they want to say, but when they come up with policies and this, that, and the other, guess what? You'll repeal that stuff or whatever. But but we're talking about issues, folks. Let's get back down to the roses. City of Roses, that's where we're going to start. So, hey, I said enough right now. Let's start the whole campaign of what we're talking about right now with a gentleman that I've known in the past. I've known his diligence and this, that, and the other, and he's running. He's running for district number 2 as one of the 3. So we got 3 people running. So that means we got 3 district 2 commissioners. We got 3 of them. You got me? And I'm going to interview him. I'm going to interview the other one, and Miss Taylor. And I've reached out to the existing chair, but she doesn't want to respond. No problem. But she'll respond. She'll respond, and I'll talk about it based on the material she sent out. So she said, this is what she is, and then we'll talk about that, okay? So anyway, so let's get going with the show here today. Derry, welcome. How's it going?
Thank you.
Good,
Well,
good, good.
it's tough, but
Tell me about District
tough
2.
times
What's up?
don't last.
I heard
Tough
that.
people do.
That's right. There you go. There you go.
Listen, District 2 is in dire need, and as you mentioned, where District 2 goes, there goes Oregon. Some things I want you to be aware of is how important District 2 is, and I'll give you one example. The first high school west of the Mississippi, the first public high school west of the Mississippi,
Okay.
was not in California, was not in Washington. Washington wasn't even existing back then, I think. It was here in Portland.
What?
The first public high school west of the Mississippi is still today the present Old County Courthouse across from Pioneer Square.
Come on.
The very first public high school, the building is still sitting there. Still sitting there in the middle of downtown Portland.
Wow.
I'm trying to say, and what's important about that is education is the answer. And how more significant is Portland or Oregon is to certainly the West as having been the first place for that very important aspect. Our first public high school, Central High School. Look it up. Our district is very important for a lot of other reasons. If you wanted to fly anywhere in the world, where you got to come?
Portland.
Yes,
Portland.
and particularly into my district.
Yes.
You have to come into District 2 to fly anywhere internationally. Our ports, all of our ports are right here. All of our major ports are right here, all 6 of them. We got 4 in my district. It's a pivotal district and one that every Oregonian should pay attention to.
Okay.
And Bruce, you were spot on when you talked about people pontificating about the problem, but there's no solution. I worked for Freightliner for many years, and one of the things we learned, the Germans are like that, is you don't bring a problem unless you're bringing the solution with it.
Awesome.
They don't want to hear it unless you bring in the solution with it. So that's my background. If I'm going to articulate about a problem, I have given it well enough thought to have ideas about possible solutions. And that's what I'm here for. When you look at the media issues, you hear that there's all kinds of money. Even our politicians are saying, we've got the money, but we have no idea of what to do to solve the problem. No ideas. And they're showing it.
Yep.
They're showing it.
Yep.
They're still
Yep.
talking
Yep.
about the problem.
Yes.
But nobody is talking about what is a solution. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what elections are about. Elections are about ideas. I hope to win. I plan to win. But what's more important is that the ideas that I bring to the table remain germane to all of us.
Right.
Okay? That's what I pray for most. I would love for you to elect Derry Jackson, but listen, it'll be your loss if you don't. But the ideas I bring to the table is for all of us. Starting with, for example, I think my primary challenger said good paying jobs. She doesn't tell you what or how. She just says she's going to focus on bringing good paying jobs. Well, this is what I'm talking about. I will bring you good paying jobs. One of the things that's central to my campaign is the idea of bringing the Navy to our shores. Okay? I don't have the money like these people do, but the ideas I do have. The solutions I do have. The vision is there. That is what elections are about, getting you answers to the problems that affect us. So, 3 points. Insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting new results. Ladies and gentlemen, you keep listening to those people who keep telling you how to vote. You see it. All you have to do is look for the endorsements. When you look at my paper, my ad, you're not going to see anybody endorse me. There are people who support my campaign, and I welcome that. But it's very important that you know that Jackson is an independent thinker. And I answer to no one but you. That's why you don't see any of those things listed on my campaign. So insanity. We've got to stop doing what we're doing if we wanted to have a different day. And that is voting for who people tell you you should vote for. How they tell you? Look at the ads on TV. Look at the paper you're going to get in the media. That's how they're doing it. They're telling you. Do the opposite, ladies and gentlemen, for a change. Two, what I plan to bring for you is agency. You have it already. You just don't know it. Agency, how you can tell you have agency is every election cycle, they come to you. They come directly to you, the voter. Why? They can't do anything without your vote, without our vote. You have agency. Don't forget it. Now you have to use it. How you use it is making sure that you're aware of the issues and that you are selecting the people who are going to be advocating for your interests. Okay? I drive around Oregon, Portland, and I see, especially in my community, the black community, I see a lot of buildings and things that are paying tribute and honor to people that we've known in the past, Avell Gordley building and things like that. But I want to know, where is the Carolyn Leonard building? Where is the O.B. Hill Memorial or the James Posey piece? These are the people who are in the street. You don't see them. They're in the street doing the things we need to have done. And they're behind the scenes. Far too often, the people who we see looking like us are selected, appointed, and put in place to control us, to tell us how to do things. And we got to stop that if we're going to have a different day. The third point is the future. That's what my campaign is about. My campaign is about bringing the Navy. The Navy has been begging for a fifth public shipyard. We are in trouble. Obama talked about it. I believe it was in his first State of the Union address. Obama's first. He was in there for 8 years. I believe it was his first State of the Union address. He talked about Newport News and the fact that a little bit of rain, they've got to shut the base down. That is where we build our warships, ladies and gentlemen. And they got to shut the base down. I've said it before. I was privy to the need a long time ago when I was asked to run for Congress once before. So it's just about a matter of dusting it off and realize nobody's done anything since. Well, I'm going to change that. The base will take a few years to get here. But if it gets here, and when it gets here, it's about $15 billion in today's dollars a year in operational costs. That's good paying jobs. Those are career jobs. Incidentally, what brought black folks to Oregon is shipbuilding. It's in our DNA. Right here in this district, District 2. We're bringing it back. And the thing about good paying jobs and money is housing will not be a problem after that. It will not be a problem. We will take care of the problem ourselves. Humans don't want a handout. They have to get a handout if there's nothing else. But they don't want a handout. They'd like to be able to do it themselves. This is what we're about to do. We're going to do it ourselves. All right? So the future is about good paying jobs. The violence, the homelessness, all that is going to fall in place. Now, what you're going to realize is that the base is not going to be here instantaneously. But I promise you, the 4 years you give me, that will be my primary focus. And once we get it, the construction of that facility likely be twice as much. That we will start getting immediately. Folks, we have a new day and a new opportunity, but it's going to take you doing something a little bit different and trusting your gut instinct that some people are not interested in my best interest. I hope you consider my campaign, because one of the things I can do is make sure that I have delivered for you.
All right, Mr. Jackson, we really appreciate I really appreciate the fact that you were here. I know you've got some other commitments, and you made it a point to come here at the Oregon Voters Digest and share with the public, if you will. And we're just getting our balance. That's why it's so important, folks. When you get this material, you got to read it. You got to look at it, if you will. And therefore, you got to look at those resumes of those individuals that are running, and that is their background and this, that, and that. Don't look at the money. Don't look at how much. Don't look at the situation of the people that you're seeing on the tube that are basically told, if you don't have $50,000 in the bank, you will not be interviewed.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to go that way. What you want to do, everybody that's running for office should be given the opportunity to be heard, point blank, regardless of what their backgrounds are. That's what this is all about. So the name of the game is that you hear that what's going on, And we want to thank Mr. Jackson because he's got some other things to do. He's knocking on doors. He's still campaigning, folks. So we want to thank you, Derry. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Hey, I'll see you next week.
Anytime, man.
I'll
You
see
just
you
call
next,
me.
see you next week.
I look forward to it.
Sounds good. All right, good.
God bless.
Okay, fine. Now, what we're going to do now, we've got enough time now. We're going to bring in Liz Taylor. She's here today. She's another candidate running, very viable candidate, running for District Number 2. And we're making sure that everybody gets the opportunity. If you filed to run for that office anywhere in Multnomah County, i.e., blah, 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 in this area, if you're a candidate, I'm going to interview you. It's not a personal thing with me in terms of like or dislike. No, these people are certified. They basically filed to run for office. And we happen to have Miss Taylor. Miss Taylor, come on over here. Come on over here. Just come right on in. This is community television, folks, and these people are busy, and I'm so glad that they're able to come to this here because, like I said, we're focusing here in our area, the living room of the state of Oregon, which is Portland, Oregon, and from Multnomah County. And as I indicated, I'm wearing 2 hats, and as you can see, I'm chair, and it's not a personality thing. I'm looking at folks who can do things, who have solutions, who know what's going down, and right up front with the District 2. That's what all the action is all about. You met one of them. Now you're going to meet number 2. Now, I indicated to you that the young lady that a lot of the medias have supported, Mr. Paul, I've reached out to her, and she hasn't answered her phone yet. I've seen her down at the commission meeting because I take advantage of those 3 minutes when I go down there trying to raise this thing. Have you ever seen this one before? I mean, today you see the Ukraine crack. Have you ever seen this one before? What does this look like? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been, for the last 2 years, I've been going up to the county and for taking advantage of that 3 minutes, if you will, to cite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. And those commissioners, all those commissioners there, other than Deborah Kaforic, who's the chair, would not assist me in doing that because I've been lobbying to get each of those commissioners to take the lead, if you will, with veterans, by the way, and they're the largest recipient of monies. Look, the money right there in the okay. But the bottom line, this is the flag right here, right? Got me? I know we've been bombarded with the Ukrainian deal. Everybody feels for those folks and whatever, but we got a crisis here. We got a crisis here in our country, and we got a crisis here in Oregon, and we got a crisis here in Portland, Oregon. When I think about all of the bombardment that's going on TV right now in the Ukraine, in this one area, in this industrial area, you've got about 2,000 people there, and people are all underneath there, and they're trying to blow this guy. The Russians are trying to blow him up. Well, guess what? They're trying to blow everything up right in Portland, Oregon. And luckily, I've got some campaigners that are willing to come out of that deal and talk about it. But we got a solution. We got to solve our problem, folks. So anyway, I've said enough. You've seen Darrell. Now here we've got Liz Taylor. Here she is, folks. Liz Taylor. She's running for District Number 2. And trust me, she's a champion in her own right. And as I indicated to you before, we've got 3 commissioners right now sitting in that seat. You met one, Derry. Now you're going to meet number 2, and then we got one that's sitting in the chair. So we've got 3 commissioners, and we got until January. And by the way, hopefully we're going to have a runoff one way or the other. We need a runoff because my point is that we'll have 3 commissioners. We'll have 3 commissioners to start with, like right now. And at the end of the primary, we're going to have 2 people running.
So actually, we have till May.
Yeah, no, January. Because if it's a runoff, you got 2 people running off, see? And so then January. So that means, folks, we got some time to make some changes. Like I said before, we got to make some changes. And here's another dynamo as far as I'm concerned. I'm glad I'm supporting it now. I mean, right up front with it, because right now it has to be an endorsement here at the Oregon Voters Digest, and we're going to endorse. We're endorsing. Okay, boom. In fact, I even noticed that I'm part of the handout there. I like that. I like that. And I see some of the other folks that are in there, black folks that I've known for days. Liz, I'm sorry. I've done my thing. Once you start talking, just go on. Let's just get right up in there. Well, where are you right now? Well, let's talk about what do you bring to the what do you bring to what are some of your goals that you bring about. Well, I know one of the things is the whole issue of gentrification. I know that's a very key piece to you in District Number 2, because that's where they basically, i.e. from the Oregon standpoint, that's where black folks are, sort of reside. And they've worked at the shipyards. They've done a lot of things. It's a whole 9 yard, and it's still considered the black community. And I do know that you are sensitive to the fact that at one point in time we had an address called District 18.
Exactly.
Got me? And the purpose of that was to make sure that we take it to the next level. You were saying that aspect of it, but at the same time, you went down to the legislature. You shared that with me, and you went down to the legislature to try to get things going on that peace aspect of it. And but guess what? Nothing has moved yet on that piece. So, and that's one of the reasons. That's another reason why you're running for office, as I understand it, because it's District Number 2.
Right.
Right. Got
right.
me? So with that, start talking.
Well, one of the I should say, what I am about and what my campaign is striving to achieve is awareness. Is awareness of how the history of Multnomah County, and we're not even going back 100 years. We're just going back. Let's go back 60 years, okay? And to the awareness of the racist governmental acts of local government that have created huge disparities among black citizens today in Multnomah County and in the rest of the state. For example, when you look at home ownership, gentrification was was sanctioned by the local government, and by local government sanctioning gentrification, it allowed low pricing, it allowed all types of different ways for black folks to be removed from their property, whether they wanted to be removed from their properties or not. We're talking about issues like transfer of death deed, after the grantors have passed without signing the transfer of death deed, yet the grantors have left wills to their kids after 50 years to inherit these homes. Yet the transfer of death deed allowed, and the courts, the judges, went ahead and gave one person responsibility. Let's say you have 5 siblings or 4 siblings, but it gave one person responsibility to sell the home, and at any price. I'm a victim of that, and so I know personally about that situation. Another thing, so I'm not into long-term homelessness. I'm not or long-term or even long-term houseness or even long-term rental. I'm more concerned about long-term generational wealth that could sustain a community and a people. Another thing that I'm concerned about, because I've come from this background and I've seen things done, I'm very concerned about the way that we treat our senior citizens. Our senior citizens, there was a lady named, and I'm sure that a lot of senior citizens today remember Alice Robinson. Alice Robinson used to walk to Fred Meyer's, which was right there. I mean, she left her block on Mallory and Sumner. She turned the corner, went up to, at that time was Union Avenue, eventually turned into Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, and made a left turn toward, and going south toward Killingsworth. She made this walk just about daily, and there's a lot of other senior citizens that would like to do it today, but they can't because of safety. Bullets are flying. There's very few police officers that are there to catch who's ever doing the stealing and the robbing and the cheating. And so senior citizens today, like Alice Robinson, just don't feel safe walking the streets. Okay, and then we have the babies. You've got the children that used to walk to school every day with their friends, and then walk home from school, have a little snack, and walk to church. It's where they would gain morals and goals, and learn traditions on how on the importance of music. Learn about history of why they should be proud to be a black person, as opposed to having their heads hung low after coming from school and feeling insecure and traumatized because they've learned the history of white folks, which is all good. I don't say, and I'm not saying white folks to be disrespectful. These are just articles and research where that terminology is used. I appreciate and I love Portland, Oregon, because of the memories that are in Portland. That I have of Portland, Oregon. One of the things that I remember the most is in Multnomah County is entertainment. We work hard. We work hard and we party hard. We work hard taking care of our senior citizens in our homes. We work hard on creating on what the real estate industry calls now is sweat equity, sweat equity in our homes, and we work hard with feeding our families, celebrating holidays, and just watching over our kids and our communities to keep them safe. As far as policing, and I don't want to change the subject, but as far as policing, I heard on the news, and I'm not sure, but I think I heard something about 100 police officers, is it,
Okay.
that are going to be reinstated?
Well, it was about 250 of them they were looking at one point in time.
Okay.
Okay, but that didn't happen.
Oh,
A lot
I
of them
see.
said no. Okay.
Okay, so one of the things that I know will be a positive addition is to hire more police officers. One of the things it seems that we've forgotten about is the growth in population in the state of Oregon. See, we just crossed over 4 million, which gave us a whole nother congressional district. Well, when you have that much new growth of a population, but where is has that population settled? Is it in Multnomah? Has it settled in Multnomah County, or has it settled, or is it spread throughout the state?
That's what it is. It's being spread around the state.
I see. Well, but the one thing that I'll never forget is the fact that police showed up in my Sunday school classes, Bethel AME Church. Police showed up in my elementary school classes, and up until I got bused. Once I was bused to another neighborhood in the 6th grade, I didn't see police officers anymore. The only information that I got was about staying safe in the neighborhood and in your community was from my church Sunday schools. So as a result, I'm very concerned about the education of our kids and the future of our kids if they're not being taught history. Civil rights was a struggle for blacks in the state of Oregon, and especially for the black community in Multnomah County District Number 2. It was a struggle, and it's still a struggle for representation. I understand there are a lot of people that say, well, I don't want money from the government, I don't want this and that. But once you start studying the budget of government and how much the black community contributes to the budget in Multnomah County District Number 2, then you'll understand this is our money. We work for this money. We fought for this money. We continue to fight for this money, but a penny because of racism, and that's all I can. Because of racism, this budget is not the budget that is earned, that is governmental money that is to be allotted, is not it's not solving the problems and the issues. Northeast Portland, the great historical albino community that's gone down that's gone down in history today is no longer is being threatened to be a historical community, meaning that black folks are losing ground on a regular basis. One example, I'll just give you one example. I heard on the radio just a few days ago, I guess about a week ago, that the Urban League of Portland, this is a paid advertisement, the Urban League of Portland is sponsoring a Multnomah County candidate forum. But the candidate forum is for people running for Multnomah County chair only. So when I called to inquire to let Urban League of Portland know that I'm over here, I'm running for Multnomah County District Number 2. Can I be in your forum? And the answer I got, and this is after I guess 5 phone calls, voicemails, and I finally got a call back from a person that I didn't know, and the telephone number was from Washington, in Washington, and I asked about the forum that the Urban League of Portland is hosting. And the response that I got was very disrespectful. The response that I got was, "It's not for you." And I said, "Well, who is it for?" And they said, "Well, we have a certain criteria on how we have selected the candidates. Number one, I want to know who we is. I never did find out who the we are, but anyway, I was told that there are only 4 candidates for running for Multnomah County chair. Even though there's 6 candidates running, we took the top 4, and the criteria was the number. And let me write this. They took the top 4 candidates with the highest number of social media hits, and they took the largest. They took the campaigns that had the largest campaign funds donated. Now, top 4, and I was silent. I'm trying to process what this man just told me, especially with the Urban League of Portland sponsoring the forum. And I was thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. We have a black man that's got more media hits than probably all of us put together before we were even born. And he says, Bruce Broussard. He mentioned the name. He said Bruce Broussard. And I said, Bruce Broussard. He doesn't. I said, Bruce Broussard, I don't think he even knows about this forum. And that's when the guy reiterated the fact that how the criteria was based on. Well, I'm thinking to myself, the Urban League of Portland, located on Williams Avenue, right in the heart of, next to the Elks Lodge, and one of the only black-owned funeral homes in Portland. And I'm thinking to myself, let me research. I need to research what is the mission of the Urban League of Portland. Once I researched the mission and the purpose of the Urban League of Portland, it gave specific reasons why they are in existence. And that is because of racism, it is to promote and grow and secure equal rights for the black community within being housed within the black community. Well, guess what? I found when the man said Bruce Broussard, I said, well, Bruce Broussard, pretty much, he's number 5. He's the candidate number 5. He's the only black candidate running for chair, and he's overqualified. I mean, he's got answers to everything. I mean, here he's a Vietnam vet. He's worked. He's owned newspapers. He at one time owned a newspaper. He's a Christian. He's ran restaurants, buildings. He's even built one of the first senior citizen housing complexes on MLK. Was the Gladys
Walnut Park.
Walnut Park. Why would you feel that you should discount this man from being in your forum just because he doesn't meet your criteria? Well, guess what? The people that ended up qualifying for the forum were for, and I don't want to sound racist, but for white women that completely go against the grain of what's needed, what's qualified, and what's needed in the black community. So, going back to this is just another, to me, I felt racial ploy, because I want to know now what is nonprofit and how does nonprofit affect the black vote, and how does it affect the voice of the black community, the pulse of the black community, the support of the black community. So what I found out today, especially with the pandemic over the last suffering of pandemic over the last 2 years, one of the things that I'm noticing, that I'm recognizing, is that maybe being a nonprofit, maybe having a nonprofit 501c3 is not such a good idea for the black community. Because the bottom line, what it has done is forbidden. And if you do your research, what is the limit? What is the 501c3 guidelines on what you cannot do as a recipient? Specifically says that any agency, any group, Urban League, NAACP today, black churches are forbidden to participate in politics, and the members thereof are forbidden to participate in politics, endorse a candidate, speak out loud, even put out printed material on anyone. So going back to the Urban League, how could they even sponsor a forum? Somebody call me and let me know. I mean, you've got a telephone number to call into the show, but I'd like to know, why is it then can Urban League of all organizations sponsor a forum and eliminate 2 men, a senior citizen, 1 black, and they're supposed to be nonprofit? To me, that's telling me that you've already You haven't selected a candidate, but you've set the criteria and you've eliminated two people from being heard in your forum. Racism is a terrible thing in Oregon. Gentrification is a terrible thing. Gentrification has caused a lot of trauma and turmoil in a community that needed protection by the Congress because racism was attacking that community like crazy. Now we have the backlash. There are simple fixes. There are simple fixes that can be done immediately to so-called, what I could say, get the knee off the neck. So as a result, and concluding, there are so many issues that can be fixed, and homelessness, like I said, is a priority. Trash is a priority. Climate is a priority. The ecosystem, just day to day, looking at our grounds. You look at the traffic and the emissions on the highways is a priority. Yes, we need bridges built. Yes, we need our bridges are falling apart. I don't know about building a shipyard community. It just seems like we don't have enough. There's not enough room for the type of ships that we need built today to even be able to turn around on the harbors. But I believe that I believe right now I'm the best candidate to serve on the board, on the commission for the Multnomah County Commission number 2, because issues are not even being addressed that is destroying descendants' opportunities for growth and prosper.
Let me add, thank you very much, Liz, for sharing that, because in all due respect, it means a lot here in the state of Oregon, because in all due respect, the definition of blacks were identified for this area in the Portland metropolitan area. And it has a history. It's quite a history. And in fact, I plan to spend some time on that history. And I'll be right up front with you. Yes, I'm announcing it for the first time. I happen to know someone that was a former Portland police officer, has retired. And during the time that I was sitting up there on the corner of, I think it was at Shaver and MLK where the murals are, the building, which I was in my office. And I was the guy that put those murals on there with Samson Dean, a very known artist in the area. But the bottom line is that there was a business, right, that was just adjacent to that building called Burger Barn. Remember that one?
Yes, most definitely. Okay. In fact, I knew that family very
Poe
well.
And those guys, yeah, Poe.
They were some of my best friends. Yeah. Val and Geraldine were my best friends.
And in fact, I'm still talking, but I'm talking beyond that point. But it was the first military recruiting office there,
I remember.
And I put that piece together. I brought out, even though I represented the Marine Corps, I brought the Navy there and the Coast Guard there and the Army. And the whole idea was to reach out to, in all due respect, young blacks that were in the criminal justice system and give them an option. Basically, as opposed to going in the criminal justice system, there was expungement during that particular time. One would basically go in the military, and that whole criminal records and everything would pretty well be resolved, and then to be productive citizens. Well, I'm telling you, I feel so good about that piece, because I know some of those folks that went through as a result of what we have done. You got my point? And that was a good thing. You got me?
And came out the other side, okay.
Exactly.
Very successful.
But in fact, it's kind of interesting. I think about 2 or 3 months after I left, and I'd gotten out of left the Marine Corps, someone laid a pipe bomb there. Yeah, pipe bomb. There was a someone basically this little pipe bomb next to the building aspect of it. But so that's a lot of history there. Let's put it that way. But as I was beginning, I know this one. My point is that there's always been this issue about the possum incident.
Yes.
The possum incident, and the possum incident. I was right in the middle of that also too. That was when I was kind of like a short time publisher of the Portland Observer newspaper.
And I understand it was the Portland Police were behind it, but not the whole organization.
Right,
You
right.
had
Exactly.
you just had some bad cops.
Right, but guess what's going to happen here?
Not the whole police
Right. I've
department.
got a guy that's going to come here next week.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to interview this person, and he's going to set the record straight for a minute.
Wow.
How about that? He's going to talk about the whole issue about what happened with that whole possum incident
Wow.
right here. Important. It's gonna just surprise you for days of how they dealt this piece. And naturally, the integral part of that piece was when that did happen, and the people who responded was Hughes a friend, two black men. I was one of them, and Ron Herndon
Wow.
of the Black United Front.
Yeah.
Okay, you got me? And responded in a very positive way, so to speak. But the point is, that's the history, the divide, the black
Yeah.
and the white, and then naturally.
And you didn't have 501c3 in those days.
No, but guess what? But I was very closely related to the president of the police union. His name was Stan Peters, but he was a former Marine.
Okay.
So we were related.
Brothers.
We were related. But it was kind of interesting with Stan. Before that possum incident, Stan Peterson was basically doing a show with me here at the Oregon Voters Digest, educating the public about police work.
I
about
remember
that?
Stan Peterson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Stan was here sitting
Yeah,
in your
he's not
chair
that
right
much
now.
older than me.
He's passed away now.
Yeah.
But Stan Peters was here, and I was telling Stan we need to during that time the profiling and all that other good stuff and whatever. He said you need to come here and we need to talk. We need to educate the public about this, that, and that, because all of a sudden there were things like there was no career day where the police was there. You know what I mean? Just educating people about police and this, that, and the other, like you said. And then there's always going to be 1% or 10%. They use 10%. There's always going to be 1% that's not blah blah blah. But if you got a good strong CO, if you will, yeah, whatever, you're going to have that makes the difference, if you will, in terms of what that between 1% and 10%.
I got you.
The bad guys, okay. But the fact of the matter is, we was on a roll, and he was coming in here. He was talking about the traffic division. He was talking about this. It was a recruiting city because I was a recruiter. Excuse the French, and I'm not trying to be negative. But, I mean, I during that particular time, I was so hot, I could actually sell an Eskimo an icebox. And I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to make it in a negative way. Well, you got that in your deal over there. That's okay.
Don't bring it.
No. That's okay. That's all right. This is community television. Her bell is ringing here. I mean, I'm just getting my phone. That's okay. That's okay. You got it now. And I got mine. I think I did mine squared away. Sorry about that, folks. We had to take a little quick moment on that piece. No problem. But anyway. And like I said, I'm not trying to. I threw that little piece out about the Eskimo thing, only from the standpoint of just kind of giving you a feel. I was good.
In Alaska.
Yeah. But I was good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was sincere. I mean, I knew what recruiting meant to those young men when I approached them to try to get them into the service.
Right.
To clean them up, right? You got me?
Right.
To make them good citizens across the board. And not only was I recruiting blacks, I was recruiting whites, anybody that met the criteria aspect of it. And even to the point that I was going to JDH at the time.
Wow.
And dealing with those young men, you know what I mean, that were there, and I would talk to them, and then I met a few Marines that were in the court system.
You know my grandmother. Did you know my grandmother?
Who was that?
Magnolia Taylor.
Yes.
She was one of the few. She was one of the few teachers. She taught at Blessed Martin Nursery School, even though she had her credentials moving from the South to teach in public schools.
Okay.
But they wouldn't allow her. They wouldn't. We didn't have black teachers.
Okay.
In the 50s, in the early 50s. So what happened was she had gotten invited by the Portland Public School Board to teach because they called education a state of emergency.
Okay.
Well, see, that was right after the 48 flood,
Okay.
and you had all these. Had a lot of black people move south to southward up to the albino community.
Right. Right.
So once that happened, she got invited and she got a certificate, a teacher certificate, to teach. Well, and I have a copy of it, and it's like a diploma or something. This is how it looks, but it says this will be revoked once we deem that there's no longer an emergency in education. Well, is there an emergency in education now in Oregon when we are
big
the
time.
number one state in the whole
Yeah.
United States with the highest high school dropout rate?
Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to say she was selected to go during that time period to go to the University of Oregon.
Okay.
And got her master's degree in behavioral modification.
Okay.
But it was all about that one child left behind.
Ah, okay.
So that's why I was asking. Did
Okay.
you know her at that
Yeah.
time?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, then during that particular time, as you know, you had Clara Peoples. You know what I mean?
Yes, who
You
went
had
to
Clara-
our church.
Yes, right. You got Mrs. Plummer. Mrs.
Berna Plummer.
Berna,
Yes.
And her father
Went to our church.
Yeah, and her father was basically working in the legislature. I think he was attorney general, something like that. He was in. But my point is that what I'm getting to, and even when I'm talking about this
The
other
realtor.
situation about the possum incident,
Yeah.
that's a historical piece, and it hasn't gone to rest yet. I mean, we got to close
Because
the
it
door.
hasn't been taught
It hasn't
in-
been told. The story, the total story, hasn't been told on the police side. Got me?
And none of the history has
And
been.
none of the history. And in all due respect, like I said, Ron, imagine the contribution that Ron Herndon has basically given to the city on the apartheid issue.
Yes.
And education. Education. I think about people like George Harris. And, oh boy, it just goes on and on and on. There's some rich history coming from this small faction here within our community. And in all due respect, and I even know whites that were basically, it wasn't kind of the black community, it was a community where a majority of the blacks were, quote, in the community.
It was a very diverse community with all facets, all
Oh yeah. Across the board.
all
Yeah,
nationalities,
yeah.
but we all worked together
Yeah,
we worked together as a team,
Yeah.
and the local government was involved
Right,
in the community.
Right.
The local government today, our commissioners today are not involved, and they're not interested, obviously, in maintaining and building from where the government left off.
Okay.
In the 70s.
Well, tell you what, you're going to be coming back because you've given the public a history, because Gladys McCoy was the one that created the seat
Yes.
that you're running for right now. And I wanted to make sure that the public understood what that meant. Now, when I get you back here, we'll talk about some of the other major issues.
Okay.
Okay, with the county aspect of it. Okay.
Okay.
But again, thanks for being here.
Thank
We
you for
appreciate that very
inviting
much.
me.
All right, you did a good job.
It's always
Real
a
good.
pleasure.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, folks. Well, now you've gotten that segment, and what we're going to do, we're just going to go on and hey, we'll have to check you next week, and we'll get back to you. Thanks for viewing. Talk
See ya.
to your friends. Bye. Okay.